Hi, everybody. Welcome to our Leadershift call. It's December. We're on chapter 4. How's it going out there? Who did the reading? Who's caught up? Who's like ready to roll here? All right, all right. We're gonna get right into it. I only picked one quote to highlight this time because to me, like this is really the crux of all of it. The actual content I'm going to talk about is a little bit less because I feel like I want to do less talking and I want us to do more discussing. And that's how it's going to go as we continue to progress here. You don't need me to summarize every word of every chapter. You guys are big girls and you can read. I want these to be like super interactive. So that's what we're going to do. But this was my favorite quote. I lead because of what I can do for other people. That's the best motivation to leave others. It took time to get there, but I made the shift from being focused on what I can receive as a leader, the perks, to what I can give as a leader, the price. And that's what this whole chapter was about, was making that he talks about the shift from perks to price, the shift in like, what does it cost, right? And he talks about how just because you have a title or a position, that's not what makes you a leader. Your influence is earned along the way. And he talked about leading in reality and understanding that everything worthwhile is uphill. Leading by setting an example of doing it first, of climbing the hill first, of doing the work, and being consistent. Like those are really the 3 pillars that he talks about and goes into detail. But just that idea that you kind of have to go the way and show the way, and that it's never over. You never reach your destination. And that while you're like the vision caster and the encourager, you also have to balance that out with reality and setting expectations that it's not going to be all butterflies and rainbows. I know those weren't the exact words that Maxwell used. That's like the Jenny version of that situation. But just the idea that, you know, you're going to have to set high expectations, and that starts with yourself. And that even before you can do that, you have to believe in yourself. And we talked about that last month, and just the importance of personal development. Because if you can't lead yourself, if you're not in the right headspace, if you don't have the right mindset, you're not going to be able to lead anybody else. If you're not confident in yourself and what you have to offer, people are not going to follow you. So you need to get that belief in yourself first. And then you have to set expectations for yourself high so you can set them for other people to follow high. And you have to make that commitment. And then he talks about balancing the hope with the hard, which was kind of like my example of it's not going to be all rainbows and butterflies. That you can be hopeful that you're going to get to where you want to be, but understand that it is going to be a journey. It is going to be a process. It's going to be hard. You're going to want to quit. It's going to suck real bad sometimes. And that's part of it. And anything worth having is worth doing the work for. And again, the magic word that we hear over and over in this business is consistency and staying consistent. That's what's really going to make the difference. So here's one of the examples that he gave, and you don't have to, we're not like saying this out loud. So, but look at these 2 sets of questions and think about which one describes you more when you're thinking about how you think. If you're thinking about leading your team, or maybe you don't have a team yet, maybe it's why you want to have a team. What will I receive? How will this decision affect me? How long will this take me? What will you give me to stay in the game? Oh, I forgot a question mark. Or the second set of questions, what can I give? How will this decision affect others? How far can we go? And what must I give to stay in the game? So that first set of questions is a leader who focuses on perks, like what's in it for me. And list 2 is somebody who focuses on price, like what can I give in order to help my people be successful? And that's really that's the shift that he's talking about here, is that shift from worrying about what's in it for me, what am I going to get out of this, to worrying about your people first and how every decision you make is going to affect them. So here's where we start sharing. See, that was good. Look at me. I went through that pretty quick. I'm impressed with myself. Okay. But here's the first question. What is your earliest memory of wanting to become a leader? Maybe it's recent. Maybe this wasn't like a girlhood dream. That's okay. And what motivated you to want to become a leader? And then what motivates you now? Does anybody want to share? Just unmute.
I'm going to wait to see if other people speak first. If not, I will walk the plank and share. Michelle wants to raise her
I'm
hand.
going to be completely honest and say I wanted to be a leader because I wanted a title and a raise back in 1987. And I went from being the head stock person to being an assistant manager of the whole like sales staff. And I was just freshly 18. And so to me, I was just like, oh, back when titles, they bought you with titles instead of pay. But I mean, to me, like I had never been taught anything else. Like that was just, that was the culture of life back then.
Right.
Like you're like, oh, you're a salesperson or you're a manager. Like that was just, and that was like, oh, that's how you move up. That's how you make more money.
Mm-hmm.
And you had to do your time, right? So I feel like I spent a lot of my years in network marketing, unlearning the things I was taught in retail stores.
Interesting. I like that.
Because my reasons are 10 times different, regardless of I feel like my why was always the same as I think once I became a parent, but was still in the retail fields. And my why changed, and your perspective changes, I think, when your why is in the right place. And so you want to learn different behaviors, right? You want to learn how to do it right. Okay, most people probably want to learn to do it right. I'll take that. I wanted to learn how to do it right.
Diana?
Okay, so I'm a big sister, so I had to be born a leader. But I've always known to give. I think my having a lot of little sisters and a lot of little cousins, you just give them things to hush them and make them happy, right? You want them happy and not crying and not fighting. So people always say you're a smile and you're just so happy. And I'm like, I truly think I learned that because I always had a lot of babies around me. And when they start crying, you're like, hey, tickle them, right? And so that's where that comes from. And then I think the Tony Robbins one was just so incredible, with like the energy that you exchange with people. And it was my first Monations, and that's when I'm like, okay, you always want to be a leader, but I'm like, now I see everyone on stage and now I know how to do a leader in networking, right? And with money. And so that was my money switch and shift, was Monations with Tony Robbins.
That was awesome.
Yeah.
Can I go?
I don't know who said that, but yeah.
Yeah, it's Bina.
Oh, Bina, go ahead.
Yeah, so I don't know about leadership because I have been out of work for whatever time I was with my kids and raising them at home. So I never played a role. I was in work force for maybe a couple years, and that's about it. So I don't know anything about team playing, right? Because all these years I've been doing things solo, whether it's for my house or my kids or my family. So right now I'm part of my temple's kitchen team, where whenever there's an event, you kind of discuss the menu or decide what you need for that and all of that. And then sometimes there's a conflict, right? There's always a conflict when there's people involved. And I that made me realize that I am afraid of conflict. And when you're afraid of conflicts, you can't lead, right? And how do you teach your people that there's a way out without, getting mad or without, frustration? So I'm realizing all these things as I'm doing my business, plus I'm volunteering. And I'm looking forward to all these discussions and how you are leading the team and learning more. I never had the experience of leading something, and I don't think I have a dream of being a leader, but seeing you all, how you inspire each other and helping other people, I think I'm starting to get to that point where, yeah, I want to lead. And how I see how you are helping these women and inspiring, and I'm seeing that people need help. People are looking forward to somebody leading them. So back this weekend, I was in Eric Worre's training, right? And there's so many motivational speakers like that, right? And speakers and motivational leaders and leaders themselves, they feel like they're doing a service by leading somebody, because if somebody's not leading, there's no path for other people. So I think that leadership is very important. I still have to finish my my chapter, but today I made a post for the 12 days of Christmas. It's about what's it about? What are my goals, right, for 2024? And I tried to incorporate whatever I learned from this book up to chapter 4. So there's things that I put in there, like as a leader, what you need, what qualities you need, and how you can step up, and you lead by example, things like that. So I wouldn't say I have a dream of being a leader, but I'm starting to feel it, that I want to be.
I love that. Thank you. Did anybody else want to share before we go to the next one?
I'll go if you want me to.
Yeah, Shan.
What's up, guys? I know I don't get a chance to jump on here a lot, but hello. So my leadership started way back when I was younger. I'm an athlete. I've always been the big girl. Jenny knows how big I am. I've always been the dominator on the sports teams and stuff like that. So I'm kind of an attention hog too. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, I know, right? So I've always been like out there and just in everybody's face, and I draw that attention, and I tend to get a lot of attention. But in my sports teams, I learned that you are only as good as your weakest player. So in order to get to the top, you need to make sure your entire team is on the same playing field, and you could be the strongest person in the wolf pack. And if you know anything about wolf packs, I learned this when my kids and I were watching wolves, but the strongest in the wolf pack are actually the last ones in the back, and they push the weak ones forward. I could cry. And just it's so emotional for me. But I've always led like that. And I always try to take, I don't want to say weaker ones, but the ones who aren't really sure, trying to build them up and show them that they can do it and keep pushing them forward along with you. And then eventually, you're going to have this super strong team. So mine came back way back when I was like 5 starting softball, and it's still continuing to this day. So that's my little story.
I love that.
I'll share. I love that too. And my mind didn't go there, but when you brought that up, it was like, oh yeah. So even with just recently, with my chairman award money, I gave 30,000 of it to our local youth sports organization, because I know how important youth sports are. And, that was basically my speech, to the organizations here. We had like a meeting and stuff. And I was like, I feel like, team sports, especially in kids, that are involved, and those coaches speaking life into them and being able to enhance the program. Like, I was like, I just felt led to, because I was in sports my whole life, and then my kids, and it's just something that I think is just such great for team building. And that's a great age for it to start, and not just sports specifically, but being a part of something, whether it's not sports, but being in a team setting. But I think that's great that you shared that analogy, because it just reminds me of like when I, have my kids and doing their sports and things too. But I digress. Okay, so my first experience, like Monate related, would be when I joined, I needed money. I didn't care about a team. I didn't care about anyone else. Like, I was like, all right, I'm going to do this. She said I can make some money. I'm going to try it out and see where it goes. But then I quickly realized how much she was pouring into me and how much that meant to me. And then once things started moving, I was like, well, that made me feel really good. And I have been in other leadership roles, working with young moms and things like that. But I was missing something kind of for myself as an adult. And I just felt like, wow, if this makes me feel so good, I wonder if I can make others feel the same. So I feel like now when I share on social of how I felt in that moment, trying to paint this picture of where I was, because some people can be in that space where I was right now. And I feel like sharing those things, like the community aspect and all of this stuff that comes alongside with it, people don't realize that that is there. And once you step into that, being a leader, it's like, you are putting others,
Yeah.
before you. And even, having these team calls, I mean, we have what? There's 8 people on this call tonight. How many did we start with? And kudos to you guys for showing up. So, showing up even when others aren't showing up, that is, that leadership role. And it's just that accountability of being like, all right, I'm going to do this. I'm going to stick to this and be consistent with this, and seeing where this goes. So I just think, leadership does start really young, but I feel like, personally, as I transitioned into like, kids were growing up, and I felt like, well, what's in it for me now? And I just felt like the people and being able to help coach them into something that I was missing, that's like one of my favorite things. And I'm just so grateful to have a community of, you guys and my team too. So that's what I wanted to share.
I'll share.
Go ahead.
So I started becoming, I'm the youngest of 4 girls. So I was bossed around a lot. And so once I kind of got out of the house and, came to my own, I started doing, even in high school, I had to lead myself because my parents were old school. They didn't really care about school. I was the only one who graduated high school, and I was the only one who went to college, and I became a nurse. And so I had to be the one to lead myself there. And then while I was in that position in high school, I became an assistant manager at a retail in Victoria's Secret. And that was pretty good for the age I was 17. But then as a nurse, I pretty much trained and led 10 nurses at a time in my infusion center for 16 years. And it was always on and off 7 to 10 nurses. So I love that because I tried to always be supportive and be their mentor. I trained a lot of them. And I always felt like I put them before me, because I would do all the dirty work just to try and make everything go smoothly and stuff. So I have learned from Monique that is not what you want to do, just from all these different calls and stuff. So when I started in Monique a long time ago, 8.5 years ago, I did not even think about selling. I just wanted the shampoo for the discount because I was a single mom and I was broke. And I had no idea even what network marketing was. That's how, because I was just so into the nursing world, and I was a single mom and I was just busy. So I had no idea. But just through the years, going to all the events and meeting everyone and really wanting to kind of step into leadership now for sure. This past year really pushed me, I think, some because of transitioning to an empty nester, which is a very strange stage in my life. It's not been the easiest, but it's been, I've just stayed busy and I'm trying to put time back into myself and find myself again and not just be the mom. And so I love all the training and all the community and everything. So I am ready to lead. I just have to find my people.
I love that.
There was a thumbs up that came on while you were talking, Trisha.
Was there a thumbs
Zoom
up?
did it. It was like the Facebook one.
Oh, that's funny.
Wait, let me unmute. Oh, that's funny. I didn't even see it. All right, let's move on. Does anybody else want to say anything? That was awesome. The next question is kind of more digging a little deeper. So what leadership goals have you abandoned and important tasks because you've told yourself you can't achieve them? And some of those things that you're telling yourself you can't, are they definitely can'ts, or are some of them won'ts? And because of that, have some of your hopes and dreams kind of fallen by the wayside? And why? Were you unwilling to pay the price? And are you okay with that? Because sometimes you're not willing, and sometimes it's okay to be like, you know what? No, I'm content here where I'm at, or I'm not willing to, in this season of my life, I'm not willing to sacrifice X, Y, and Z. And that's okay to set boundaries and kind of adjust what you thought you wanted. That's not really what this is about. Well, I guess it's about deciding, like, am I okay with that in this season, in this place in my life? Am I okay with giving up on certain goals that I had, whether temporarily or whatever? Or is it more of a confidence thing and maybe I need some tough love kind of thing and it's time to dig back in? So kind of think about like where you're at in terms of your goals. And since we're talking about leadership and this is Mon 8, team building, right? That's on the forefront of all of our minds right now, right? The comp plan is changing back to the way it was before. Team building is back at the forefront, right where it should be with what we are doing. And where are you at with that? What are your goals for the team you have, for the team you want to have, and the leader you want to be? Where are you stuck and why do you think that is? And how do we move that needle? So this is one of those like tougher kind of like introspective kind of questions.
I'll answer because I've reflected on this whole topic. It's not my first time through the book. I had a mindset when I started this business. I was running a multi-million-dollar dental office and I was just like, I want clean things. So I'm going to try this and I'm going to tell my friends that want clean things. We're going to have chats and we'll all get a great discount. I bought the success pack, not because I wanted to like go all in and learn all the things. I just didn't want to mix products. Right. And then I was like, and then I can get mine at a discount because that was my mindset. And also I had never made tangible money at any multi-level marketing I'd ever done. I only had ever done them as a discount because I'd never been taught to believe in that system that you could. It just was not some part of any of the culture I'd ever been a part of, that it was literally, oh, only the big people make money. You'll never earn this, you'll never earn that. Like, it was almost like they kept you down so that you would keep being a worker bee for them. It was really, if I'm being honest, that was the cultures I had been party to.
Can I interrupt for 1 second? Because this came up on and Monica can speak to this too. On our director call yesterday, the girls that were at GoPro who were talking with other leaders in other companies, they're like, we forget because we end up in our Monate bubble that we forget how good we have it here. And like talking to other leaders, even who are top earners in these other companies and what goes on and what they deal with, and said it was just very eye-opening because like we forget because we get so used to how things are here, and it is not the norm for the industry at all. Okay, continue. Sorry.
But so when I was introduced to the products, that was one aspect, right? And that's kind of what I was looking for. But I had like getting a taste of the culture, because like you said, you know, people that have been around know what it was like. And it was different. It was hugely different. If you tried to explain it to someone how it was different and they only knew the ick, they were like, yeah, whatever. That's what everyone says. Oh, it's like a family. Yeah, that's what they say, blah, blah, blah. And I remember visiting in Granite Bay, and I went with Casey and Dawn to a Meet Monate way back in the day, because it was literally when Julie Stevens and Brittany Pillars and Sarah Reed were touring the country. And they came to our town, and we each got to speak with them like individually for like 20 minutes. So it was just amazing back when she was just about to hit, you know, and was getting her Ferrari, and like, you know, well, his Ferrari, and he was literally driving. She's like, I'm going to fly right now. I'm going to meet him. He's driving his Ferrari from the factory. So, I mean, that was my first exposure with big leaders months into my business. So it was pretty inspiring, obviously. And so it created a vision for me, like, oh, this is all around big picture different. It wasn't very much longer. I was in my accident, and I was in dental because I wanted to help people, and I didn't want to work DM traveling my whole life around the holidays in retail. So I was like, what can I do to help people and have better banker hours, etc. So that's when I went back to college at 40 and got into dental. But I was so grateful because I didn't feel like I had lost all purpose. I was like, oh no, I can still have an impact. I can still, but I would say my vision of hitting the sky was small because I thought, oh, now I have brain damage and I can't do what I could do. But that was a lie. That was a limiting belief that I taught myself because the doctors said, you can't be whole again. You can't work your job anymore. You can't put your hand in patients' mouths. So that was all I heard. And the more brain work I did, it was like, no, there's a chance. And it's like, I can still make an impact at whatever level I'm at, no matter what my rank is or what my paycheck is. I can impact people because people have impacted me that aren't even on my team, that aren't even anywhere in my line or in this country. I've just met them on a plane on a trip, or met them at an activity at a trip. And it's just big picture. Things that make you rich aren't just money. And it's like, if you take that and you can share that with people and they see a big picture, it's like, oh, okay, yeah, money's nice and people do this to make money. That's the real world. But it's like, when you take your leadership goals and your dreams and you let them fall away because you let limiting beliefs. And I just feel like that's really the killer every single time. Yeah. When we start our self-doubt journey, that's the killer of all things. That's why you're constantly told, go back to your why. And it's like, if you have never really nailed down your why, I love the exercise of like, what's your why? And you say it and you're like, why? Why? Like, you keep asking why to the answer that you just wrote down on a paper, and you might go 2 whole pages, but it makes you dig deep enough. And then it's like, and then if you tell that to yourself in the mirror, and tell that self, like, you record it. And if you forget and you're having a bad day, go back and listen to your recording. If you know, it's just something I just feel strongly about. And so I think limiting belief is the number one killer of why they fall by the wayside. We hear something negative, we get knocked down, and it's easy to find an excuse to give up. And so honestly, I'm spiteful. I'm not giving up. I don't care where I hit at the end of the month. I mean, I do care, but I just refuse to beat myself up about it. Yeah. I'm just going to show up and what's meant to be. And if I'm putting in the work, it's going to be what it's supposed to be.
I love that. Anybody else want to share? Hobbs had to run to her team call, but we're all going to stay on.
That was good, Michelle. I have had that issue through the years. And the biggest reason I've stayed is because of the community and because of people who are not even benefiting from me being here have been supportive and like sisters. And that's been, you know, really important to me, because even my own family have said, oh, people like us don't do things like that. Like, we don't get, we're like, basically, you're not pretty enough, or you're not smart enough, you're not that kind of girl to get to the top of the company. Or, and I'm not really even like, that would be wonderful, but like Michelle said, I just want to impact, I want to help as many people as I can. I don't have to drive a Ferrari or have a huge ranch or whatever, which is awesome for whoever can do that. But I just feel like, you know, it is really hard to keep going when limiting beliefs and, you know, kick in and self-doubt. Like, I've even probably even 6 months ago, I was like, is this really what I want to do? Because I keep getting so many no's. I get plenty of customers. I've got lots of customers and they keep buying from me and they like their products and everything, but I just can't find my people that want to be on my team. So it's very frustrating, because I do the work and I do the do, and I talk to everyone, and I reach out to people who I think could really benefit from it, and they just don't have the vision. They just don't see it. And it's because of their limiting beliefs. And it's like, just trust me, let's just try it. And it's just very frustrating, because it's like, I'm not trying, like, they should know me, that I'm not going to put them in, you know, a bad position, but they don't have confidence in themselves. And that's what I've learned from being a part of this company, is the confidence and stuff. Like, yeah, I was a really confident nurse. I am a confident nurse and stuff, but of course there's days that you doubt, you know, your abilities and everything else, especially if you get an emergency situation and stuff. But I don't know. I feel like you just got to keep doing the mindset work is the biggest thing to keep going.
Thanks for sharing, Trisha and Michelle, because you know we go through all these phases, and I put myself in other people's shoes when that happens, and like I picture myself like, what if somebody was doing pitching to me, or introducing something new to me, because we are not conditioned to just, you know, trust anybody, first of all, right? We are very scared, just because of the way we are conditioned from the beginning, from the childhood, and we're given such picture about how everything should be, or how will you achieve success, or you know, this is not for you, or this is not how you should be, you know, taking the life. And I try not to do that to my kids, just because I know what it means to have a passion for what you do. And but the way I was raised, that wasn't the case, right? Like they tell you, even to this day, my husband does not believe in me. He wants me to find something else. So I say, like, you tell me what you want me to do, and so he does not have an answer for me, but I'm gonna keep doing this because I love it. I see the, you know, community that is, you know, inspiring me. What I wanted to ask, since you guys mentioned about the culture, and Jenny, you mentioned about like how the other leaders were, you know, saw the difference between the company leadership and other network marketing companies. And Michelle, when you said you have worked in other network marketing companies, and the culture is very different. I hear all that all the time. I just wanted to know what the difference is. I don't really have clarity on that. We say that this is different, but I really don't have any kind of background on other companies. So I
Let
don't know
me
if you
tell
want to
you.
do that.
Okay, so I was a director level in a different company in my early 20s. It was very much cutthroat in terms of like you didn't mix with people on other teams, because if you had a system or something that was working, you wanted it for your people and you wouldn't want them to have it, because then they might end up doing better than you. And it was very much just to give an example, so I was a leader in this company, right? With a car, all the things, and I get married and I move 5 hours away. I really struggled. I'd never not lived at home before. Now I'm in a new state. I don't know anybody. My whole business is back in New Jersey. It's falling apart. And I'm trying to get in touch with my upline, who I thought was a very dear friend. And she told me that she could not schedule a 30-minute phone call until I booked 6 parties. And I was like, I don't know 6 people. Like, I just need somebody to talk to and try to work through this. And she would not get on the phone with it. Like when I tell you guys, it made me hate this industry so much, because all 25-year-old Jenny could say was, this is so fake. And the second your paycheck dipped because I wasn't making you enough money, you cut me off like a bad habit. And I thought you were one of my best friends. And now you won't talk to me on the phone? What? And I think that is very common. Like that mentality of like, you earn my time, I'm the queen, I'm at the top, like everyone should be worshiping me and let me grace you with my presence, instead of like, we're all in this together, like let's go, which is how we are. Like it would be like Julie's not on our team and I'm in Julie's text chats and stuff, and we share stuff with each other all the time. Oh, this is what I'm doing for onboarding, or oh, I did this Reels challenge. Oh, I did what we do that all the time. That's what doesn't happen in other companies. They don't want you like talking to people on other teams. It's weird. It's like cultish and weird other places.
It's scarcity mindset. It's
Yes.
gatekeeping at
Yeah.
the most extreme level, and it's competitive. It's like, I will steal a person from you because
Yes.
it's survival of the fittest.
Yes.
It's like, imagine the most ugly situation you've ever seen with commission salespeople. And I literally, in my retail days, I said, I'm never working commission sales again because it makes people gross.
Yeah.
And I was just like, no.
And like just teaching icky things, like they would teach. I was taught to convince people to take out a personal loan to buy a $4,800 inventory package. Like some like 18-year-old girl. They wanted me like, that is awful and it's predatory. And that's why people don't like MLMs. And then my goal after I got her to do it was to get past her 1 year, 90-day, 90% buyback stuff. Like it's gross out there, other places. And I think we forget, well, we do forget, or we don't know. But guys, I was like anti MLM after that, because
Jenny joined Monday by accident.
I did. Yeah, that broke my heart. And that's why I just assumed everything was like that. I'm like, this is fake. It's predatory. It's gross. Like, I'm never doing this again. All those relationships weren't relationships. They just wanted me to make them money. That's how I felt. And that was true. Because I never
And
got
I mean, the huge foundation of our company not breeding that culture right off the bat is you don't have to have inventory. You don't have a monthly quota. You don't have a minimum. But the people that have come from that industry, I think, are the biggest culprits of scarcity mindset and wanting you to do X, Y, Z, and they pressure their downline to do X, Y, and Z, as opposed to saying, this is your business. You run it how you like. I'm here for you. If you want to run, if you want to grow, if you want to take a time out and you want to hit me back when you come back. And those are the leaders that you see that ultimately are thriving. Even if they told everybody like, do your own thing, it's not that they're not wanting to lead. It's that they don't want to be that person who's like, well, you only matter to me if you're making sales.
Right.
And trust me, I'm just about to hit my 6-year anniversary, and I've seen plenty of it, not just like in my team, but like across the board. I hear people, I'm guilty of letting people complain to me all the time, but it's like, people are just like, oh, this and this. And when the downturn happened, when, I don't like to use the words, but 2017-ish, like you hear people talk about, oh, well, we had
Terrible,
all
awful.
yeah, yeah. And so when that happened, and then it's like, then you had the fallout of that, which is when I started, and people were like, oh, we were just living the best life. You should have been there. Right. But those people were still hanging on to their culture. And that's when I came in, and people were just, I'm not saying it was Woodstock Love Fest, because that's probably older than everybody on this feed. But I'm just saying, like, it was a great time for a community in Monate.
Yeah.
So if you knew that time, and then let's just say the pandemic hit and everybody did their thing,
Yeah.
right, wrong, different, everybody handled it how they handled it. Some didn't recover, some didn't want to recover, some didn't want to have anything to do with it. They did whatever they did. And so you have those of us who are like, oh, we joined when this was this, not just times were good and money was good, the community was fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
And so you have people that are like, but it's just not like it used to be. Well, the world's never going to be like it used to be at any given point, day to day to day to day. And so you can, like, that's just an excuse, right? Like, we can say that. And it's sad because it was awesome.
Yeah.
And
it's
we
true
set an
that, like,
expectation, and then
Yeah.
we expect it to never change. And that means nobody's growing, right?
Right.
So we have to pivot. Pivot is like our best friend,
Yeah.
because, and you can even say, okay, when I'm making my business plan,
I
these are my
agree.
goals. But if you also have to have a pivot plan, right? That's what I've learned. Your
Yeah.
pivot plan is, well, these are my goals and I don't want to be 1 foot in, but there's also reality. We're
Yeah.
going into a sketchy season, people. Winter is here.
Yeah.
Like Jenny
Yeah.
said, regardless of our comp plan, it's not going to be like it was.
No. I mean, just
Yeah.
and that's that balance that Maxwell talks about, that mixing the hope with the hard is like,
I
you
love that.
can
I
be-
forget about it and I hear it again and I'm just like, oh, hope and heart. Oh yes, I
yeah,
love it.
because let me find where I have everything
It's just
annotated.
literally
This is who I am.
like
You
honestly,
have
Jenny,
a
like just that
little
section
like
alone is
quote
just
of that.
gold.
Yeah, so he was talking
It's like a
about,
paragraph or longer,
all
but
right, it's called the Stockdale paradox.
yes.
And it's retain faith that you will prevail in the end, regardless of difficulties. And at the same time, confront the most brutal facts of your current reality, whatever they might be. These twin expectations of faith and fact help us to believe we can prevail in the end, but remind us that the process won't be easy. As I prepare to lead, I think of hope and hard. Like, those are his like trigger words. And another thing he says that I completely agree with, and I think has served me well, is that you can't fake hope. And you guys know me at this point, and you know I can't fake anything. So if I am feeling something, I will tell you. It will, and if I don't tell you, my face will. So I've always been very transparent and vulnerable with you guys. But I think it has served me well, because nobody has to wonder what I'm thinking or wonder if it's real or if I'm being authentic. I hope not. I hope you guys never worry if I'm being authentic, or if I'm saying what I'm thinking, or if I really believe what I say, because I 110% do. And that's why it is hard for me sometimes when things aren't going great, because I don't want to discourage anybody out, right? Like, I don't want to be a Debbie Downer, but it's that balance. And that's what I need to get better at.
You're being the real about the hard, Jenny, because you're like, okay, I hope you guys have faith, set those goals, right? But it's like, expect the hard. And I think setting that now, saying, guess what? If you survive the next 6 months in this business, you're probably going to survive the 18 months that follow. And you're going to be so far ahead of everyone who quit. Like, consistency has never been more important than it is right now. And I think if you take the tools that you have been given and you use them consistently, it will pay off dividends. It'll be like, oh, I bought shares in this stock of myself.
Yeah.
And your shares are going to just gain value and you're going to reap the interest and the benefits.
And it's hard in a business like this where it's a monthly, where you're like, your rank is dependent on your month, your paycheck is dependent on your month. So it can be very much like an emotional roller coaster. And one of the dangerous things that can happen is when you start to tie your feelings about yourself to your monate paycheck. And I'm not saying your paycheck isn't important. Trust me, I'm trying to get a bigger paycheck over here too, right? Like that is important. We all have bills that we need to pay. But what I want to encourage everybody to do, especially over these next few months, is just be really good about auditing your time. What tasks are you doing? What are you spending your time on? How much time are you dedicating your business? And then figure out like what that's equating to in a paycheck, and then be able to make the shifts that you need to make. And maybe that means that what you're doing needs to be more recruiting focused over the next few months. Maybe you're in a season where you need to rebuild. I mean, I've been in many of these seasons, right? And it comes down to, what do you want to get out of this? How much time do you want to put into it? And where is that equation worth it? And only you know that answer. That's why in this question, like, were you unwilling to pay the price? And for me, and I've talked to you guys about this, like I'm in a season right now where I am unwilling to pay the price to be like an ED or an SED in this business. I'm not in a season where I want to do that right now. I thought that was what I wanted because I'm an Enneagram 3 and I'm motivated by success and I like to do well. But I realized along the way that that's not what's going to make me happy. What's going to make me happy is building this life that I have here. And that I don't need that to do it, that I'm good where I'm at and still helping people, because that's what I love about this business, is working with all of you and helping all of you. But that I'm in a different season right now and that's okay. So as you grow your teams, one of the most important things you can do is just have that communication where you know what people want and you're like helping to walk alongside them and help them get to where they need to be, instead of imposing what you think they should want or what they should be doing. Because it's going to look different for every person.
I was going to say, Jenny,
Yeah.
it might be helpful. I don't know. I just feel like anybody who asks me and they're like I know Trisha gets stuck in this spot where she's just like, these people, you know, they're missing out on their opportunity. I ask a lot of people, I share it because it can really help them, right? We want to help people help themselves. That's our driving force, right? I feel like that's everyone on this call is in that mind space. And I just honestly tell people on my team, not on my team, they're just like, but people say they're all in. They want it all. No, they want all the money. They want the paycheck. They want the things. And that Big Owl book, it's like 15 minutes, your network marketing. It literally just cuts to the quick how to read one word in somebody's sentence to like know that they really mean it, or follow-up questions, like how to dig a little bit deeper when you're really interviewing that person. And I feel like your time's coming, especially Trisha, that you're just going through the interviewing process. But when you find the people that are your fit, you guys are going to slay.
Yeah.
And it's like, you are benefiting. If you've ever hired a bunch of people to have bodies to fill your schedule at the holidays in your store, you regret it. Bodies are not worth it sometimes.
Right.
Not for rank, not for a bonus. It's just, I'm so picky now. It's like I've been burned a few times. You're like, no, I'm good. I'll stay right here in my little unleader rank if I have to.
If you focus on protecting your peace, making an impact, and then where this fits in your life in terms of like income, like what do I need for my time and everything to be worth it? Those three things need to be balanced. Impact,
I agree. The
income,
balance is the
and
important
peace.
thing.
Yes. No, and I totally agree. I'm not going to make myself crazy over it, because in the long run, I mean, I ultimately have to continue working my full-time job and do the things. So that's why I don't post during the day, because I can't. Like I know people are watching me and I don't want them to tattle on me because that's the way nurses are.
Oh,
But that's
I
okay,
thought you meant
Trisha.
like us. I'm like, I'm not
No,
gonna tell
Trisha,
them.
you're fine because Trisha, guess what? That's going to be a part of the people that you are
Yeah.
speaking to, the people that have no choice but to work their full-time job,
Yep.
but
Right.
need a little extra, right? Like you're helping with college. And just you speak to that and just talk to that and just say, hey, I'm not one of those people out there replacing my full-time income.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
supplementing it because I have a son in college and he needs to eat. He's a boy and he's hungry.
I got myself a full-time job because it's something I wanted to do.
But Jenny's
Right.
like, but it's like playing house because I love doing it. And I just get to play in this cute little
But like
store
that's what like
and
I
live my
who
best
saw that
life.
coming?
And I
Yeah,
get to
like, who
buy all
saw
the
that?
merchandise I like and I know people like. And so
Yeah, I love it.
I love it for you, Jenny. I'm just
Yeah, but like, you know, that's
But
what I decided I wanted. This, like, we get
Yeah.
one life. So,
you also have to say and stay strong that if you have your why and you have your vision and what you want to get out of this, you also have to have this list of, if this happens, like think of your hearts. If this happens, that's not going to make me quit.
yeah,
That's not going to knock me down. If
No.
my leader quits or doesn't show up for me, I'm not out. I
Yeah.
have
No.
someone else that I can go to. Like build your own community however you have. And I feel like everybody on here has.
yep,
Right.
And that's why we're still here.
yep.
So you like I used to fall into a trap of, oh my gosh, I used to be so passionate about my community. I don't feel I can speak to that was my driving reason for being so happy in this business, right? I will own that and say, oh, I don't feel as comfortable just saying, oh my gosh, you could call anyone. I can't call anyone anymore.
Right.
I am in a lot of groups where I'm like the 17th wheel. I'm not the third wheel. I'm like, somebody let me into their little group and I get to like, oh yeah, cool. I get to like I get to get some value from these people. I'm so grateful that they let me be here. And because I'm not getting that in the places I got it before. And so I appreciate Jenny. I'm like 6 down from Jenny, if you guys don't know that. And it's like, I might be 7 if you had Tony.
Might be more.
It's 7. It's 7. I think it's 7 with Tony Lasada. I feel like I forget about Tony, poor Tony, because it's like MDC, 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 and it like skips Tony between Stacy and you.
She's close. She's got to be real close.
And so it's just like, okay. But it's like, then it also gets hard for me because I'm like, gosh, all these people that were this community, they've all hit these goals. And it's like, they can't, like Jenny can't see any of my numbers. The people that are active above me can't see my numbers.
Right.
But I know for a fact, the people that I'm making money see it. They don't look, but they cash that check every Friday or every middle of the month.
I don't make any dollars from you, Michelle, but I don't care.
No, but that's what I'm saying. The people who aren't also don't see my numbers, but there are people that I know see your numbers. And it can get discouraging to me when I'm slapping up there that I made 4 months of Vegas, and it's slightly frustrating because I'm not going to say I'm like an attention hoe, but recognition feels good. I don't care who you are.
Right.
I made you a flyer for
You did.
Vegas.
Diana shouted me out.
Oh,
She's like,
Diana,
can I
you're
share
just
this?
the best.
She's like, I have this graphic. Can I shout you out? But I just feel like shouting out and recognition, like on every level, like in our team group, it's like, so-and-so just got a VIP. So-and-so just hit 3% bonus. So-and-so just got a market partner. All those little things
Yeah.
matter. And
Well, you can be
I'm
in my
of that
chat. I
mindset.
always call everyone out. I added Trisha in my chat. Like,
But I'm
I
just
was
saying,
a
like,
foster
if you
child. I
think
know
that
how
it doesn't
everybody
matter,
come to me.
but even if you get a new market partner and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm so excited for that person. They just got their first VIP and they don't want to shout it out. It's like, just shout it out to them or like make a little
Yeah.
post and make sure you send it to them. Even if they're like, I don't really want to be on social media. I'm not ready to do that
Yeah.
yet.
It's important.
But encourage them because say, no, people might have doubt in you, but if they see you doing it, they
Yeah.
believe that you believe in you.
Oh, I love that, Michelle. That's
And
so
so
true.
you're likely to see people go, oh my gosh, like they're still doing this 6 years later. Jenny's still doing
Yeah.
this almost 9 years later.
9 years. Yeah.
So, I mean, it's like, who gives a crap what they think,
Yeah.
but give them something to think positively about you.
Hmm. Yeah.
And if they don't take it that way, that's their problem.
This
Yeah.
was so good. We've been on for an hour though.
I know somebody's going to watch this and go, huh.
Well, Jenny can
But-
probably find the place to cut it off.
But this was so good. This was so good, you
Yeah.
guys. Thank you for
Yeah,
participating.
And we're just on chapter 4, people.
Yeah, this is good.
Getting
All
the
right,
party
I'm gonna stop recording.